Hello, and welcome to Celeb Sphera, the channel where hidden stories finally surface and the truth behind the headlines steps into the light. Today's story isn't just big, it's explosive. We're diving into one of the most shocking claims ever tied to Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z, a story of private tensions, crossed lines, and a silent war that may have reshaped Nicki's entire career from the shadows.
Y'all, Nicki Minaj is back on X, and she's coming for Jay-Z. So in a series of tweets, Nicki Minaj is claiming that Jay-Z owes her $100 to $200 million so far.
It all started with a shocking confession, one nobody saw coming. The kind of revelation that rattles the entire power structure of hip-hop. Because when Nicki Minaj finally opened up about Jay-Z, she wasn't talking about some deal gone wrong or a little studio drama. This was something far deeper and far more dangerous.
Minaj, she went on another Twitter rant. She still got Jay-Z and Roc Nation in every tweet. She be wilding on them. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen nobody come at Jay-Z this hard.
It all started with a shocking confession, one nobody saw coming. The kind of revelation that rattles the entire power structure of hip-hop. Because when Nicki Minaj finally opened up about Jay-Z, she wasn't talking about some deal gone wrong or a little studio drama. This was something far deeper and far more dangerous.
Do not understand who I really am. Bring it, let's play. Y'all wanted attention, let's do it. Then she starts talking to the LAPD about something we have nothing to do with. And she's saying to Republic Records that they need to stand up for her any day now. Then she says, you'll regret it. Now, I've been going down the rabbit hole.
Here? Why did this?
Y'all really don't understand who I am. Bring it. Let's play. Y'all wanted attention? Let's do it. That's when everything snapped. She began calling out everyone, even mentioning LAPD involvement in something she insisted had nothing to do with her, and warning Republic Records that they needed to stand up for her any day now. Then came the line that made people stop cold, "You'll regret it." And that's where the rabbit hole really begins. Because according to Nicki, that moment was the turning point, the instant everything changed. Her world didn't fall apart all at once. It happened quietly, slowly, and with precision. A silent war allegedly began behind the scenes, far from cameras, buried in boardrooms, whispered through private calls, and executed by people who never show their faces.
Blogs and online platforms don't touch what she's saying, and they don't cover all of her words fully because it's Jay-Z and Roc Nation.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X, and I guarantee you if she ever took that to court, that would be...
Hip-hop has seen plenty of public beefs, but this one feels different. It cuts straight into power, influence, and what really happens when the lights go out and the cameras stop rolling. And when you look at the timeline, the pieces line up in a way that's almost impossible to ignore.
Nicki Minaj has dragged Jay-Z to Philly. She blasts him for being evil and...
In 2021, Jay-Z sold Tidal for over $300 million. But the real shock goes back to 2015, when Nicki was allegedly promised a 3% equity stake, real ownership, real power, and a seat at the table.
You know but Kendrick Lamar is the hottest out right now.
He is though. Kendrick hot.
They're going to make their...
Yet when the payout finally came, Nicki claims she didn't receive a single dime. She even said she pushed Tidal harder than anyone, promoting it, defending it, and investing her voice into a platform she believed she had a real stake in.
Losing everything, including your account, because Nicki Minaj has been on X saying that the blogs and online creators don't cover her and Jay-Z's back and forth the same way as they do everything else.
Well, it's not a back and forth.
It's definitely not a back and forth. I was about to, yeah, it's just been...
Even Beyoncé didn't promote it the way Nicki did. Yet insiders later claimed that while several artists walked away with millions, Nicki's name was nowhere on that list. At first, it sounded like just another celebrity grievance, until everything started spiraling out of control.
Yeah, so...
What that got to do with Sister Minaj?
Because there's a lot of fans online having a conversation right now following our interview if whether or not Kenneth, who's Nicki Minaj's husband, should be doing the same for Nicki Minaj, because she's online and there's a lot of things that she's saying and different things that are happening.
That wasn't the reason she shot at Charlamagne, was it?
No, forget me. Why did she come at Keisha? I don't understand. Like, what did anything Keisha have?
By March 2024, things took a turn nobody saw coming. Nicki Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Petty, were suddenly hit with a $500,000 default judgment after a German security guard alleged Petty assaulted him backstage. Then, out of nowhere, that same man's legal team moved to seize Nicki's $20 million Hidden Hills mansion. And by September, the LA Sheriff's Office confirmed it. Her home was officially under levy. But here's the part that made fans stop and look twice. All of this chaos erupted just weeks after Nicki began publicly calling out Jay-Z over the title equity dispute. Almost overnight, she was buried under lawsuits, negative headlines, and a wave of bad press, much of it coming from outlets rumored by fans to have ties to Roc Nation. Coincidence? Or, as some whispers suggested, a subtle warning shot about who really controls the industry? Nicki felt that pressure too. Because on October 15, 2025, she dropped a bombshell. Her album was canceled. And she didn't leave people guessing. She tagged Jay-Z directly with the message, "Hope you're happy now." The internet exploded. Hours later, her entire Instagram disappeared. When it finally came back days later, it opened with a strange, unsettling image, an AI-generated photo of Jay-Z wearing a bright pink wig, paired with the caption, "I am your karma." Fans instantly split into two camps. Some said Nicki was unraveling. Others insisted she was fighting back against something bigger than anyone realized. But the people who truly understood her history heard something entirely different. Not chaos, not confusion, but a warning. A line in the sand. A message that Nicki Minaj would rather burn the system down herself than let anyone break her again. And the industry didn't waste a second firing back. Charlemagne the God, one of Jay-Z's loudest public allies, went on The Breakfast Club and named Nicki Donkey of the Day. His words were icy. "Your energy is just stank and nasty." He dismissed her posts as a meltdown driven by ego, but it didn't feel like a regular radio rant. The delivery was too sharp, the tone too pointed, and the timing? Almost too perfect. Because that takedown aired just 48 hours after Nicki accused Jay-Z's team of blocking her radio interviews. Later, insiders whispered that the entire segment had been cleared by iHeart's upper-level executives, the same executives fans often link to Roc Nation. It didn't feel like the machine clapped back. It felt like the machine had prepared the counterattack. Then the real chaos hit. Nicki faced 4 swatting attacks in a row, armed officers storming her home each time, with her toddler inside. LAPD confirmed the incidents, but claimed they had no suspects. Nicki didn't believe that for a second. She went public, demanding answers and calling it exactly what it felt like: intimidation. She tagged Republic Records and even Jay-Z's associates, saying she had proof these weren't random pranks. She insisted they were targeted moves meant to rattle her. Roc Nation stayed silent. But the moment Nicki exposed it publicly, the raid stopped. The message was loud without a single word spoken. Someone wanted Nicki Minaj to know she could be reached, even inside her own home. And when you line everything up, none of it feels random. It feels calculated. First came the financial blows, the missing title payout, the lawsuits, the sudden debt drama splashed across headlines. Then came the public humiliation, Charlemagne's takedown, Stephen A. Smith calling her ungrateful, and multiple media outlets repeating the exact same storyline as if they were reading from one script. After that came the mind games, Nicki's social accounts vanishing, the bizarre AI mockery, police appearing at her door in the middle of the night. Any one of those events could have been bad luck. But stacked together, it looked like a pattern. A former label executive even told us, when a woman in this industry refuses the wrong man, they don't just cancel her, they erase her. And what made everything even darker was how quickly the industry snapped into formation. Just hours after Nicki's outburst, Gucci Mane's wife, Keisha Kaur, appeared on The Breakfast Club, praising Gucci's recovery and mental health, a segment fans swore felt like a perfectly timed contrast to Nicki's turmoil. Nicki snapped back, accusing Keisha of being sent there to keep Gucci sedated, as she put it. And she didn't stop there. She looped right back to Charlemagne, calling him Jay-Z's close friend, and accusing him of using iHeartRadio for what she described as disgusting attacks against innocent families. Suddenly, it didn't feel random at all. It looked like a network in motion, same platforms, same voices, same timing. Whether people believed Nicki or not, even critics admitted the pattern was too sharp to ignore. And through all of it, Jay-Z stayed silent. Not a comment. Not a statement. Not one word from Roc Nation. Then came another spark. Nicki accused Jay-Z of blocking Lil Wayne from performing at the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, claiming his ego was punishing greatness. The internet roasted her for it, saying she was inserting herself into drama that wasn't hers. But underneath all of that backlash was something simple: loyalty. Wayne discovered her. Wayne put her on. Seeing him sidelined in his own city cut deep. And to Nicki, it looked like more of the same quiet retaliation she'd been warning everyone about. By late October, everything hit a breaking point. Her mansion was still at risk of forced sale. Legal filings kept piling up. And she was just days away from relaunching her billionaire Barbie brand. Then, right on cue, every major outlet suddenly began recycling old stories about her husband's probation and past charges. No new details. No developments. Just the same scandals repackaged with a fresh timestamp. Media analysts later called it a refresh cycle, a calculated tactic used to bury current news under old controversy. And leading that cycle? The same outlets fans have long associated with Roc Nation's media network. Coincidence or cleanup? And it all circles back to one chilling question. If Nicki's claims are true, if rejecting Jay-Z years ago triggered a personal vendetta, then what else is buried beneath hip-hop's most powerful empire? Nicki has hinted that lawyers, media insiders, and even law enforcement have been woven into a system designed to protect one man's image. There's no official proof yet, but the timing, the patterns, and the silence speak louder than any denial could. Because if Jay-Z truly has the reach to mobilize legal teams, radio hosts, and police pressure against someone who simply said no, what does that say about the industry everyone's still trying to survive in? But hiding beneath all those questions is one even more dangerous. What Nicki exposed next wasn't just about revenge. It hinted at a machine so powerful, so deeply wired into the industry, that even Beyoncé might be caught somewhere inside its gears. That $500,000 judgment against Nicki wasn't simply a courtroom loss. It dropped like a financial guillotine, slicing straight through her independence and reminding everyone just how cold this industry can be when pressure is applied from the right places. And just as Nicki began fighting to reclaim her brand, a man named Thomas Bowden Miller suddenly resurfaced, demanding damages from a 2019 overseas incident that most people barely remembered. But what truly shook fans wasn't the claim itself, it was the timing. Because the moment Nicki started naming Jay-Z publicly, everything began speeding up. Faster lawsuits, faster filings, faster financial threats. Within months, her $20 million Hidden Hills mansion was hit with a levy, a move that felt less like routine legal action and more like a synchronized strike. To casual fans, it looked like typical celebrity legal trouble. But to anyone paying attention, it felt like pressure, a silent warning against challenging one of the most protected circles in music. That seizure notice wasn't just paperwork. It was a message, a reminder of who holds the power and who pays the price for speaking out. And that same pattern leads straight back to Tidal. Jay-Z sold the platform in 2021 for about $32 million. Yet Nicki has said for years that her promised equity, rumored by some insiders to be worth anywhere from $100 to $200 million, simply vanished. No payout, no explanation, no doors opening when she knocked for answers. On paper, every founding artist was supposed to receive equity and a final payout. But insiders claim Nicki's name quietly disappeared from the deal's final structure. And that raised the question nobody wanted to say out loud. Was it just business or punishment for turning Jay-Z down? Because the silence surrounding it hasn't just been loud. It's been deafening. Every time Nicki pushed for answers, Roc Nation and Block Incorporated stayed locked-lipped. And the moment she brought the issue back up this fall, her entire legal world exploded all over again. To anyone paying attention, it didn't look random. It looked like a double hit, financial pressure wrapped in coincidence. aimed at reminding her what happens when you take a swing at the wrong giant. "Shot a shot at me, was it?" she asked. And honestly, it's hard not to wonder. Behind Roc Nation's polished walls, one name kept surfacing: Desiree Perez, the CEO once pardoned by a former president and often whispered about in industry circles as the quiet strategist behind the curtain. Sources tied to label meetings claimed Perez was the one calling major platforms, urging them to minimize risk with Nicki, which fans interpreted as code for shutting her out of collaborations, interviews, and public appearances. Even Republic Records, Nicki's own label, was reportedly split in two, half defending her, half folding under what insiders described as Roc Nation's pressure. And insiders say that once Nicki went public about the missing title money, internal audits suddenly appeared out of nowhere, as if the moment she opened her mouth, someone started combing through her world with a magnifying glass. And right around the same time, those terrifying swatting incidents began: 4 separate police raids, armed officers at her door, and her toddler inside the home. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe it wasn't. But the pattern was undeniably unsettling. The pressure didn't stop with lawsuits or headlines. Suddenly, private texts between Nicki's team and industry contacts mysteriously leaked to blogs known for their Roc Nation exclusives. Some messages painted her as unstable, others hinted she owed massive advances. None of it verified, but every leak was perfectly timed to inflict damage. A former road manager put it bluntly: "It's never about truth. It's about wearing you down." And that's exactly how it looked from the outside. Every headline, every breaking update, every Instagram explosion, it all felt engineered to drain her so completely she wouldn't have the strength to swing back. And through all that chaos, one name remained perfectly untouched: Beyoncé. So when Nicki dropped the cryptic line, "Beyoncé knew," the internet detonated. Fans didn't know what she meant, but the speculation spread like wildfire. Because if Jay-Z truly crossed a line with Nicki years ago, fans began asking the one question the industry has always treated like forbidden territory. And that's when everything reached a breaking point. The swatting incidents weren't just scary, they were strategic. 4 separate raids, armed officers, her toddler in the house each time. Maybe it's coincidence, but nobody really believes that. Not with everything else happening around her. And the pressure didn't stop there. Suddenly, private texts between Nicki's team and industry insiders conveniently started leaking to blogs, the same blogs that always seemed to get Roc Nation exclusives. Some messages painted her as unstable. Others hinted she owed massive advances. None of it verified. Every bit of it damaging. A former road manager put it perfectly: "It's never about truth. It's about wearing you down." And that's exactly how it looked. Every headline, every viral meltdown, every breaking story felt timed, coordinated, engineered to drain her until she couldn't fight back anymore. But through all the chaos, one name stayed shockingly untouched: Beyoncé. So when Nicki dropped the cryptic line, "Beyoncé knew," the internet erupted. Because if Jay-Z really crossed a line with Nicki years ago, the question nobody is supposed to ask suddenly became unavoidable. What did Beyoncé know, and when? Her silence since then? Not grace. Not class. Strategy. If even a fraction of what she's claiming is real, we might be witnessing one of the most calculated acts of retaliation the music industry has ever executed. A system designed to punish disobedience, erase the evidence, and rewrite the narrative afterward. And that leads to the question nobody wants to touch. If this can happen to Nicki Minaj with her millions, her influence, her global fan base, then what chance does anyone else have? How many artists have been quietly pushed aside, silenced, or broken long before we even learned their names? This might not just be Nicki's battle. It could be the warning shot the entire industry has been praying you never hear. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, share this video, and make sure you subscribe, because this story is nowhere near finished. See you in the next one.